All right. Welcome, everybody, to this Wednesday JMC weekly webinar on elementary and middle school scheduling. It's July 14th, 2021. Welcome. We're glad to have you. My name is Paul Freed. I'm the head of training here at JMC. I have over 20 years of educational experience. I'm not joined by Brett today. I made a mistake. I forgot that Brett's on vacation, but I'm joined by Jake Van Scoy. Jake Van Scoy is our newest trainer at JMC. Jake, you want to say hello and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
How's it going, everybody? Just started on with JMC, though I've been using the product for about 15 years as an educator and coach in Eastern Iowa. So excited to start on here with JMC as a trainer.
Great. We're excited to have you, Jake. So I'm going to be leading this presentation and Jake will be monitoring the Q&A. So what are we talking about today? Getting students scheduled into classes can traditionally be a time-consuming task. Both JMC Office can throw away the pencil and paper, toss aside those cluttered whiteboards, and let JMC Office help you set up your elementary and middle school schedules. From creating courses to checking class size, the JMC scheduling tool has everything you need to create your very own elementary and middle school schedules. Before I go over the agenda, I will tell folks many times that there's an easy way to create elementary courses and put kids in. That's what we're going to show you today. And then there's the hard way. And the hard way is where people start with this third item here, which is hand scheduling students, right? That's the slowest way to do that. We're going to show you how to go and create your courses the way that is easiest, then bulk load them into courses, hand scheduling, and so on and so forth. It's actually so easy when the courses are set up correctly that when new schools come to JMC, sometimes they'll say, well, should we import our courses from our previous student information system? And I tell them, I wouldn't, because you're going to import something that you're probably going to just end up deleting out because it's so much easier in JMC than what they're used to. So I will sometimes, even when I do a train with a school mid-year, I'll say, hey, I can tell by the way your courses are set up that they're not set up to be able to easily bulk load courses and bulk load the students into courses and so on. So I recommend, I say, hey, when June comes and you've rolled over for the next year, get rid of those courses and set them up this way. It will save you a ton of time. And 100% of the time they will say, yes, it's worth the extra effort to change your courses to set it up so that you can easily bulk load kids and so on. The only thing I want to note, and I'm going to note it early on here, is that if you use elementary standards-based report cards out of JMC, right? You've worked with the JMC team, you've created your standards-based report cards. If you change your course numbers or you intend to change your course numbers, you want to reach out to that JMC tech support team. They'll reach out then to our forms design team, because they might need to edit the form, right? Because those courses can be tied to that report card form, not always, or the benchmarks and the standards can be tied to the courses that are taught. So it shouldn't dissuade you from changing your courses, but you don't want to get to the end of the term and discover that. If you're going to change your courses and you're using standards-based report card, I would reach out to our tech support team and say, hey, do I need to update anything with the standards-based grading? And they can help you with that as well. So here's what's on the agenda: creating courses, bulk loading students into courses, hand scheduling students into sections, and verifying the schedule. Please hold all your questions until the Q&A session at the end of each section. If you do need to communicate with the host, feel free to use the Q&A chat feature in your webinar toolbar. All right, creating courses. First is finding course numbers to create new courses. Are you needing to add a few courses to your existing schedule? Find the best course number to use by examining its location in the course directory and considering its grouping with other courses. So first, keeping your course directory organized helps throughout the scheduling process by making similar courses easy to select as a group. That's one of the things that makes this process easy. Find out how to identify available course numbers to choose from in JMC Office using schedules, course data list. And from a scheduling standpoint, this report is your friend. Schedules, course data list. Step 1, select the course number and name radio button, and that's already selected for you, so you're good to go. Step 2, and this is important, remove the check mark from the only include courses with students enrolled checkbox to include available, aka unused and currently used course numbers in the course data list. You don't have any kids enrolled yet, right? So you'd want to uncheck that box. Step 3, click the preview button. Step 4, note the course numbers with the blank course name to identify a sequential group of available unused course numbers. And this is the helpful tip. And you can read this off if you want, but I'm just going to tell you how I tell folks is that what I do is for each area of a grade level, I try to leave 10 spots. So at least, so if I've got, 2 groups of first grade, I'll have 1 through 10 or 1 through 9, whichever you want, will be reserved for those first grade courses. And then 10 through 19 for the next first grade courses, and so on. Why do I do that? You might say, well, we only have 4 courses or 6. Maybe we've only got reading, language arts, math, science, and then art, music, and Phi Ed. The reason we want to leave extra spaces in between is in case you add a course in the future. When your Department of Education says, hey, you need to start teaching, biochem to your first graders, then you'll want to have space in there, because when you choose the courses, you want them to be next to each other. Some people already have 7, 8, or 9 courses for their lower grade levels. So I'll say, well, reserve 15 spots for them, but you want to plan ahead and keep all the courses together and leave space in between. When I look at a course data list for an elementary school and there's no spots in between, it's just like, ugh. Another thing to think about is maybe this year you've got 2 first grade groups, but only 1 second grade group. Well, you want to leave space for that grade group next year, because those 2 first grade groups are going to turn into 2 second grade groups. So in that situation, let's say we're going to leave 14 spots or 15 spots per. I would do this: your first grade group, 1 through 14. Your second first grade group, 15 through 29. Your third or your first second grade group, 30 through 44, and your second grade group would be 45 through 60. I think folks get the point. You can ask questions about this if you want to, and I'll show it when I show it live as well. But leave space, leave open spots, keep them together. You've got 600 courses to work with. And actually, we're expanding the course numbers in JMC. You're going to have 1,000. So leave space that you're going to be happy you did that in the future. So then we're going to look at actually creating new courses. Creating a course is a key component of the scheduling in JMC. It allows students to be assigned to classes taught by teachers in your school. It only takes a few key pieces of information: course number, course name, and term type, to create your new course so students can be assigned to it. So first, start adding your new course in JMC Office using the Edit Course Data page at Schedules, Course, Edit Course Data. Again, under Schedules here, Course, Edit Course Data. Now again, because this isn't a middle school, high school course, we don't need to do all the pieces. What I encourage people to do is this. Sometimes I'll have them just write down a note, right, of the different items that I'm telling you, and just trust me in the way that I tell you how they should be set up, because once you start going through them, you can do it pretty quickly. So first is enter the course number of an available course in the find field to start entering the course data for a new course. So like I said before, I'm going to go back here real quick, right? If I had no courses listed here, I would type in number 1, and that would take me to course number 1, or type in course number 2, and so on and so forth. So going back here, enter the course number to find the course you want to look at. Step number 2, enter a course name for the new course in the course name field. And again, I got a helpful tip here. I like to see people name the course, the grade level first, the name of the course, and then the teacher whose group it is, right? Because in elementary schools, courses are typically self-contained. So White is my teacher, Mrs. White. And Mrs. White has a group of 23 students that move throughout the day together. And so we're going to do first music White, first language arts White, first math White. Those are White's kids that are in those particular classes, right? And then we have the other first grade teacher is Mr. Black, right? So we're going to have first music, Mr. Black, first language arts, Mr. Black, first math, Mr. Black, right? Those kids are self-contained classes. They stay together and then they move from there. And that's where, again, we're keeping those courses open. So again, find the course you want, enter the course name. And I'm going to show you how to do this in a minute. Then select a term type from the term type drop-down list to set the course's scheduled length. Helpful tip: the most common by far choices are year semester or year trimester to build a typical elementary or middle school year-long master schedule. Now, a lot of times people will raise their hand here and say, well, Paul, we don't grade at the semester, we grade at the quarter. Don't worry about that. Right now, this is just the term type where you're going to have 2 semesters for a class, semester 1 and semester 2. Or if you have a trimester class, you're going to have try 1, try 2, try 3. So just trust me on this one again. Choose that year semester if you're a quarter semester class. Choose the yearly trimester if you are going to be a trimester or a year trimester class as well. Step 4, click the save button. Helpful tip: repeat the process until your new courses are entered. So you come in, course name, term type, year semester, and then click save. That's it for this top list right here. Okay. Now we're going to talk about creating new course sections. Sections represent classrooms of students scheduled into a course and are the foundation of scheduling and grading. Adding a section with a term and period allows students to be placed in the appropriate section. Everything from report cards to progress reports rely upon scheduling students into sections. So now that you've created courses for elementary and middle school scheduling, let's add sections to those courses. Go to Schedules, Course, Edit Course Data, so we're on the same screen, and click the sections tab. That will be already chosen for you. So you're on the same screen. I've put the course in. I've chosen the term type. I click save. Now click the add section link to add a new section for the currently displayed course. Now I'm going to tell you just what I think are a little bit of the time savers, right? You can follow the directions just like I have it here, but a couple of things I would say is, first of all, I like to click the add section twice, because then I have a section for semester 1 or semester 2 right away. If you're a trimester class, you can do section 1, add section 1, 2, 3. You got all 3 there as well. There are a little bit of an advantage to doing it just one at a time, and I'll show you that. And you can decide what works best for you. The new section will have no values listed in the term and period drop-down list since they haven't been specified yet. So step 2, click the edit link right here. So I'll click the edit link here to begin editing. Step 3, choose the term, right? So if this is a year class that's semester, we have a semester 1 and semester 2 class. Okay, so that's really pretty straightforward right there. Step 4, choose the period from the period drop-down list. Now, this is a helpful tip that's important. For elementary and middle school scheduling, you'll select period 1 from the period drop-down list and remove the check marks from the day checkboxes, eliminating the need to specify periods during the day. What does that mean? Well, typically elementary schools are a 2-period day. Period 1 is the morning, period 2 is the afternoon. So most classes are going to go in period 1. Now, if you're going to take attendance by schedule, this is part of the period attendance training, which I'll talk about. I think I'm doing in 3 weeks. You can put your morning class in period 1 and an afternoon class in period 2 to do morning afternoon attendance. It really doesn't quite matter all that much as long as you have some class in period 1 and some class in period 2 if teachers are going to take morning and afternoon attendance. What these are is they're placeholders really more just for grading. So what we do is, since all the classes might go in period 1, which is what I would recommend, you have to uncheck the days because it will not schedule a student in more than one class the same period if they have conflicting days. So we say, hey, there's no conflicting days here. We're unchecking the days. Well, you might say, well, Paul, music isn't first period for Mrs. White's class. It's this period. Well, we don't, the office doesn't need to know that. In fact, in those self-contained classes, most likely the teachers are the ones working out who's going to those classes. Now you might be figuring that out a little bit with the office and so on. But as far as the JMC teacher is concerned, we're only putting these courses in there for students to be graded for report cards, for state reporting requirements, and so on and so forth. We're not building a master schedule. At this class is period 1, period 2, period 3. You do that outside of JMC. This is merely a placeholder. All the classes go in period 1. Uncheck the days. And if you don't trust me on this, I tell you, just trust me. You're going to see how it works out in the end. All right, step 5, select the teacher. Step 6 is optional. You can choose a room if you want to or not. It depends. Some states do require it, though. I think like the state of Minnesota needs a room for Minnesota Common Core catalog reporting. I don't think Nebraska does. I think maybe Iowa does, but it doesn't hurt to put a room in. So I would. You don't need it for the program to function. Totally up to you. But if you're putting the teachers in, I would put the room in as well. Step 7, click the update link. And if you want to click to delete a section out, you sure can do that. All right, let's take a live look, and you're going to see how this goes. Here we go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go under Schedules, Course Data List. Clicking course number and name, uncheck the box, only include courses with students enrolled in preview. Now I'll see if I say, oh, I've got to add in my first art classes, right? First grade art. So I've got first art, and we're also going to do first grade bowling. So I've got courses 6 and 7 open. Oh, this is great, right? When I first set my courses up, I left some space in between. So I'm going to work with courses 6 and 7. That's all we need to do. And you could go print this off and make a plan. I will tell new schools who've never used James before lots of time, print this off and then just write on there, block out 1 through 14. Maybe it's kindergarten group A, 15 through 29, kindergarten group B. Maybe you've got 3 kindergarten groups, 30 through 44, kindergarten group C, and just write out so you know where those courses are going. All right, once you've decided where the courses are going, we're going under Schedules, Course to edit course data, Schedules, Course to edit course data. I come here, type in course number 7. That's going to say available course. There we go. What am I going to do? Now there might already be section information in there. Let's pretend that let's delete this out here. Pretend that there was no section course information in there first. I'll show you another one what you can do. I'm going to come in here. This is going to be first. What did I say? Art White, because it's White's kids that are taking this particular class. Choose my year semester just like that, and then I click save. The only thing you would need to know is you would want to put this on the report card, but that should be default checked for you. You can actually even leave credits in there and all this stuff because you're not going to use it if you want to. You could delete it out, but there's really not, you don't necessarily need to do that. I'm going to click add section twice. I like to start at the bottom and say edit, semester 2, period 1, uncheck the days. Who's the teacher? Now here's the important part. If Mrs. White teaches art, right, then we would choose Mrs. White. But Mrs. White's the main grade level teacher. I don't think it's Mr. White. I think it is going to be Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson is the art teacher. But we might say, well, but why is Mrs. White listed up here? Because it's Mrs. White's self-contained classroom that is going to be taken the class by Mrs. Johnson. Choose the room and click update, just like that. Now I like to start with semester 2 on the bottom because it stays down there. Then I come here, edit semester 1, period 1, and check the days. Choose the teacher, Mrs. Johnson. Choose the room, and then we're good to go, just like that. And that's all there's to it. Now there's one step I forgot in the directions when I was creating this presentation. This is an important one. You do need to choose a grading scheme. You need to tell JMC what is the grading scheme, or else the teachers won't be able to go in there and grade the students. So you might say, well, we're a quarter class, right? Then you would choose this. So like I said, it builds off the term type, but this is where you say, when are the grades going to be given? So most elementary schools are quarter. If you're not, you might be a SEM course. When are the grades given? At the semester? Are they given at the quarters? Or are they given in quarter SEM? Totally up to you. I'm going to make this a quarter class and click save. Okay. It will give you a warning that says, hey, don't change mid-year, because you don't want to change that mid-year. But we're in the summer, so we're good to go. And then I'm going to go back to my sections, and there we go. Now I know that course number 8 is the next one I want to add. That's my bowling class. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to click the right arrow button instead of typing 8. So there's arrow. I'm going to come in here. Now this one's already got some items in there, so you don't need to delete it. So I'm going to show you what you can do, so you don't have to delete out this item, because you might have some information in there. I mean, you don't have to go in and you don't have to delete out everything and then re-add it in. So I'm going to say, all right, this is my first bowling class. So first bowling. And this is a year semester class already here. I'll click save. Okay. Now I can come in and say, all right, I'm just going to edit this. So I'm going to edit this bottom one, say this is semester 2, period 1. I'm going to uncheck the days. Who's my bowling teacher? My bowling teacher is going to be Mr. Clip, and that's the room. And I click update. I'm going to edit one more here. This is semester 1, period 1. Uncheck the days. So like I was saying before, once you get on a roll, you can add these in really quickly. Probably kind of guessing here, maybe 15 seconds per course. Update, click my grading scheme, quarter, save. It's going to warn me. That's all right. And there we go. If I wanted to add another course in, maybe I'm going to type in my Phi-Ed class here. I'm going to go to course number 9 here. First, actually, let's do a class that Mrs. White teaches. So we're going to do first, and we are going to do science. I don't know if I've got it in there all right. White. Okay, now this has got trimesters in here. It's like, well, this is odd. We must have done trimesters at one time. How do you get rid of that trimesters? Well, you click save, and this is one area where you have to delete out this section because it's building off of this. So you'll see I can't delete this out. It says, okay, you can do that. And now I can change it. Say, well, this is not a trimesters class. This is a year semester class. I save this. I'm gonna click add section twice here. Actually, I'm gonna do it one time, because if you want to do it this way, you can actually come in. It might save you some time. It's totally up to you. You can make this semester 1, period 1, uncheck the days. Mrs. White is actually the one that teaches this class. So I'm going to choose Mrs. White. She's a little bit lower down here. There we go. Choose the room. Click update. Now, one kind of cool thing is if you click add section here, it does fill in for you the name of the teacher and the room as well. So if you want to do that, you can. I'll come here, edit it. This is semester 1. Now I'm actually going to make a mistake here because I'm going to show you how you can catch a mistake a little bit later on. Period 1. Check the days. So the mistake I'm making is I'm leaving one at semester 1. And then I'll click update. And I'll show you how easy it is to do that. So I always tell folks, put the courses in as quickly as you can. I will show you later how you can run a report to see if you've made any mistakes. Okay, now I can come in here. Now, if I wanted to choose here, put in Mr. Black's classes, I could sure go ahead and do that at this time. Okay, so let's see if there's any questions.
So far, it's looking good.
Yeah, a lot of information in a short amount of time, but this is where and I don't know how much scheduling you've done, Jake, but this is like 90% of the work is putting the courses in. So getting that in is good.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we're good to go.
All right, I know I'm moving kind of quickly, but I like to get all that information there. So I want to remind people again, I did intentionally make mistakes. So it's not going to work out 100% as I want to, but it might not work out for you 100% either, but I'm going to show you how you catch that and how you change that. Oh, I think I did a question come in there, Jake?
Yes. Can I rewatch this if I need to? Absolutely. We will be posting this to YouTube along with the slide deck in the information screen when we're finished here. So
Yeah, what I like to say, Jake, is that we put on a pretty good show here. So if it's Saturday night, you're looking at Netflix and you're like, there's nothing good on. What should we watch? Pull up a JMC video, right? Bring up your beverage of choice, some popcorn, your loved ones, and learn a little bit. So
Bob Anderson has asked, can old unused courses be deleted?
they sure can. You don't necessarily need to delete them, Bob. You can actually just delete out the course name if you want to. So this is kind of an interesting thing here. So if I come into my courses, I'm actually going to go back here. So we just added these courses in. Let's go back to my course data list. I'm going to uncheck this box, which says only includes courses with students enrolled. Preview this, and you'll see here's my new courses right there. Here is first art and bowling, and those are the courses there. Now let's say, we're not going to have these reading levels anymore. We're going to get rid of those. What I would do, that's courses 15, 16, and 17. I'm going to right click here, open this in a new window. Because if you've ever done training with Paul Freed, having multiple tabs open is a huge time saver. Because I can come back here and say, all right, I'm going to get rid of course 15, 16, and 17. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to type in course number 15. And really all you need to do, because there's no kids enrolled in here, is just delete out the course name. Because you might come in and you might use this section later. So it's course 15, and I'm going to do 16, and save it. Because again, nobody's enrolled here, so there's nothing. You don't have to delete it. You sure could. I'm not telling you you can't. We save this. So now when I come back here to my course data list, now keep your eyes here on 15, 16, and 17. There we go, and they're gone. Meaning that nobody's going to enroll in that course. Nobody's going to be using that particular course there. Great question, Bob. Other questions, Jake? Are we good to go?
Angela Lee just commented on how much she loves JMC videos.
I appreciate that, Angela. I appreciate that. You looking for a job, Angela? Somebody wants to be another JMC trainer. Jake, you better step up your game here.
I'm not sure what the Oscar nomination process is, but
that's right.
Keep this in mind.
And now nominated for the Oscar for Best Student Information Instructional Video. All right, bulk loading students into courses. One step in the scheduling process is loading your students or courses with the correct groups of students. So I want to say one more time, and I don't mean to belabor the point. This part right here, right, putting courses in, 90% of the work, right? The bulk loading, that's where the payoff is. So I'm going to start right here. Instead of hand building each student schedule, that's the important thing. Use the bulk load feature to quickly add sets of courses to whole groups of students with just a few clicks. Learn how to select multiple courses and how to populate them with groups of students for faster scheduling. Go to Schedules, Develop Bulk Load Courses to get started bulk loading courses with students. Step 1, select a course or courses from the Select Course box to identify the list of courses you are choosing to load with students. Now, to select, this is an important point here, to select multiple courses, you can hold down the Control key for Windows or Command key for Mac while clicking multiple courses that are in there as well. You can also hold down your Shift key if they're all in a row, which they should be if you've set them up correctly. So I did multiple courses here. Then step 2, click the corresponding radio button to select a group of students to bulk load in each course. Now we've got 3 options. First is by grade. Helpful tip. Use the by grade option if you have one section elementary, middle, or middle school that wants to load all students for grades into that class section. So if you got one grade, one first grade, one second grade, one third grade, you would choose that grade level and bulk load those kids in there. But I don't have that. So what do I need to do? We do it by advisor. So what this means is this is not a step in the process, but your kids need to be attached to their student's advisor to be able to be attached to that advisory group. How do you attach them to their advisor? We're just going to take a quick sidetrack here, right? On the View Student Data screen, every student will have an advisor listed here. It's the first advisor here, not advisor 2. So now you might be thinking, well, I can't go through each kid and choose their advisor. No, you don't. What you do is you attend Jake Van Scoy's weekly webinar on the Starting the School Year Checklist, because the Starting the School Year Checklist, which is found under File, to start the school year checklist, will tell you that the easiest way to assign students to their advisors in mass is to go under attendance, staff, to assign advisees, choose the advisor. So we're going to choose Mrs. White here. Okay, and I'm going to choose my first grade students here. I'm actually going to get rid of these students here. And I'm going to say these kids right here are now attached to Mrs. White. How many kids do we have in there? 18. I got the student count right there, 18. So that's how we attach them to their student advisors. Again, Jake's gonna be doing his first and great weekly webinar on the starting the school year checklist. So by advisor allows you to do it by advisor. So if remember, I've got 2 first grade teacher, Mrs. White and Mr. Black. I'm going to attach Mrs. White's kids to Mrs. White's classes, and then I'm going to load them in, which I'll show in just a second. And then I'll come and do it again for Mr. Black's classes. I'll choose Mr. Black's classes, choose Mr. Black as the advisor, and then load them in there as well. Now, if the group of students you want to select to bulk load is not an advisory or grade level group, you can choose a random group of students to bulk load. So we call this by random. So helpful tip, use the by random option if you're assigning a mix of students to a course. If you've got like elementary students who are in special ed courses or reading levels, you can do that as well, because maybe they're part of maybe they're part of their main class for certain courses, but when it comes to reading and math, they're grouped together in different ways. Well, then you can choose those random kids and put them in those sections there as well. After you select the courses to be loaded and the students will be loaded into the courses, it's time to finish the task. Step 3, click the load button to load the selected group of students in the selected courses. Fun fact, a message will appear right here saying 56 new records for 14 students in 4 courses. So let's take a live look at bulk loading courses. This is the time saver here, folks, of the whole scheduling process. So we go under schedules, develop, bulk load courses. I'm going to choose my advisor, Mrs. White. And Mrs. White is going to be attached to this course. I'm going to hold down my command key because I'm on a Mac. This, and this, and now art, and now bowling, and science. Actually, I think I've got out some of these courses already. So I'm actually just going to do art, bowling, and science as an example. Okay, and then I'm going to load those kids in. 42 records. I got 14 students for 3 courses that are listed there. Now, you can start typing your questions in if you want to now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like on a student schedule. So under the View Student Data screen, if I come here, I'm going to find a kid with Mrs. White. I can actually just choose my first graders here. So I probably should do as my advisor, Mrs. Friendly, Mr. Freed. I like to waste time, give people a chance to be able to type in their questions. Well, I'm just going to come here. I'm going to choose my first graders. There we go, Mrs. White. So John Freed has Mrs. White. If I go to a student's schedule, I'm going to edit schedules. You'll see here, these are my new courses I added in here. I'm going to save a little time. I'm going to delete out these courses here for just a moment to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. You can click this X at any time to delete a student out of any course. There we go. So when I get here, you can just ignore this for a moment. Let's pretend that I just clicked on this student schedule. It will look like this, okay? First art white, first bowling, and first science. These kids have been loaded in these classes, but since there's no grade, there's no terms listed here, it means they've not been scheduled into sections. No sections are chosen. I'll show you how to do that next. But that is what it looks like. So any questions come in, Jake, on the how to bulk load kids into courses? That's the easy part.
Nothing just yet.
Okay. So the next thing we're going to look at is hand scheduling students, right? After using the bulk load courses feature to load courses to the majority of students, it's time to individually schedule students with special circumstances, such as students who have moved into the district mid-year or students who work with different teachers than the rest of the students in their grade or homeroom. Because of the special nature of these student schedules, they need to be individually assigned to each of their courses on a student-by-student basis. So in JMC Office had to schedule student edit schedules to manually schedule a student in their specific courses. So this is really the most intuitive way to do it, right? You've got a kid, you've got the courses, you can put their courses in here. So step 1, select the student using the find field. Does the student, now this is a little sidetrack here, but does the student you are hand scheduling have a similar schedule to another student who's already been scheduled? If so, here's how to use the copy schedule from another student feature. It's one of my favorites. You find the kid, you click copy schedule from another student link in the quick link section. It'll ask you, do you sure you want to do this? You click OK, that's this step right here. Then you'll select the student who you're copying from and click the OK button and it will copy that kid's schedule in. So let's say you've got 7 kids who are special ed students and they all have the same schedule. You can actually create the schedule, which I'm going to show you next, by hand, and then copy it for those other students. Really awesome tool. Especially this is helpful when an elementary student comes in after the first day of school. Then you don't have to hand enter it in, you just copy that schedule. If this student is taking courses that are different from the bulk loaded courses or from a schedule that can be copied, you'll select the individual courses in which the student is enrolled. Step 2, select a course from the course drop-down list to add it to the schedule. You can actually type the name in or the number. and then you click return. And step 3, select a class section from the section drop-down list to move that student into a specific class section. Once the course is selected, you can lock the specific course into student schedule. Now, most elementary schools don't need to do this, but there are some rare circumstances where they do, where you can select a locking section here. If you think you need to lock them in, what it means is you've got a kid, there's multiple sections, and you're going to lock them in there. It's rare in an elementary school, but I did want to bring it up. For most of you, though, you can skip step 4 because you only have 2 sections for each class, semester 1 and semester 2, or 3 for trimesters. So for most of you, click step 4. If you think you need to do that, you can always contact tech support. They can tell you if you need to do that or not. Step 5, click the save button as always to save any changes. And I already showed you can click the X to delete a course. So let's take a live look at hand scheduling students here. So let's go to another student here. I think they're all going to have these here. I'm actually going to come in here. There's another cool thing here we've got called delete, excuse me, all courses here. If I delete all courses, it does remove them all if you want to start over with a kid. So that's helpful because let's say that you bulk load all these courses for all the first graders, but Paul Freed is a special ed student. You could still bulk load to all of Mrs. White's kids, but say he's only going to be taking a few of Mrs. White's classes. He's going to take course number 7. So I'm going to type in number 7 and 8, right? Art and bowling. But now he's going to take a different math class. And I'm kind of, I'll make this up here. He's going to take a second grade math class. Not a great example here. And he's going to take a second grade science class. Maybe he's advanced. Maybe you're going to do that. You come in here and then you click save at that time. Now, if you want to, you can come in, you can click the sections right away. So you can say, hey, this is going to be semester 1. Oops. Sorry, semester 1. And this is semester 1. All my semester 1. Maybe the kid switches at the semester, I'm not sure. But if he does take it all year, I would actually come in, save this, and I would just do it twice right away. So I'd come in here and do, all right, this is course number 7, and I probably would have done it right away. 2 7s, 2 8s, 2 23s, 2 20s. I'm gonna do it like this. 7, 8, 23, 20, and come in here. Well, oops, already has one for semester 1. See, James C. Smart. It's gonna make me do semester 2, semester 2, semester 2, semester 2, and semester 2, and I save, and now this kid is in the semester 1 and semester 2 classes. So you can see it's really easy to do that, but that's for one kid, right? The bulk load and schedule students, as we're going to talk about, is the easiest way to do that. Now let's say we've got another new student here. That is Paul Freed. We're going to do this, another student here, another first grader. I'm going to delete all their courses out. And I say, hey, this kid came in 5 days after school started. Tom, I want him to have the same schedule as his brother, Paul. I'm going to click copy schedule from another student. Click OK. Find Paul Freed. There's Paul Freed. He's a first grader. Click OK. And there it is. And I click save. So what I'm telling you is all these tools are in the toolbox for you. But if you're unsure how to move forward, create the courses like we said and bulk load. And then you can hand schedule students later if you want to. But we wanted to show you this step right away. So let's see if there's any questions. All these tools are in the toolbox for you to use. But again, most of you are just going to create the courses, bulk load, and then move on to this next step, which is the schedule students function. Any questions yet there, Jake? Or are we good to go?
Nothing yet. We're good to go.
All right, let me grab a drink and we'll keep rolling. All right, scheduling students into sections. After you've created courses, bulk load them with students, and hand schedule the students with special circumstances, it's time to schedule students into class sections of the courses for which they're registered. Scheduling options include the time frame within the year, which group of students to schedule, and optional rules for how to place students into their classes. So Schedules Develop Schedule Students does the heavy lifting for you by placing students into the class sections of courses while balancing the number of students in each section. Let's take a look. Now, this is the step, Jake, that a lot of people forget. They think once they bulk load, they're done. Not so. You've got to come in here and schedule students into the sections. That's what puts them into Sem 1 and Sem 2. So if I come back here, let's go back one more time to my schedule. Let's go back to students here. I think that's where I had it. Right, you'll see here, there's no sections chosen. So John Freed is my example student here. You might need to remind me of who that is, but that's John Freed here, Jake. So I'll come in here. First thing is select the radio button for the time frame you'd like to do. Elementary, I would always do the entire year. There's no reason to wait till second semester. Even if you might be switching some kids around second semester, do it for the entire year. Step 2, select the radio button for who you'd like to do it. I don't think you do selected students. You would typically do by grade level. And some people will come in and they will they'll bulk load their first graders and then schedule their first graders. Bulk load second and then schedule second. You sure can do that. It's not the most time saving. So most time saving is to bulk load all your first, second, third, fourth, and then come in kindergarten, and then come in here and schedule students from 0 to 4, and that will schedule them all at the same time. But you can do whatever which way makes you more comfortable. Step 3, place a check mark in any of the check boxes that apply to your scheduling situation. In an elementary situation, they almost never apply. If you have multiple sections, you're actually creating different courses for them. So almost 100% of the time, I'd say 99%, no elementary school is going to choose any of these courses unless they're doing something different than courses being self-contained. Step 4, click the process button to process your request to begin scheduling students into classes. Step 5, click the OK button to proceed with scheduling your students, or click the cancel button to return to the previous page. Fun fact, status messages will display below the process button as the scheduling tool is working to keep you informed of its progress. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So let's take a live look. So I'm going to come here. So here's John Freed. That's what his schedule looks like. There's no quarters listed here, no section chosen. So I'm going to come here under schedules, develop, and you know I like to open multiple screens, Jake. So I'm going to right click on schedule students and left click on open a new window. I'm just going to do my first graders. So I'm going to come here, do from grade 1 to grade 1. Now again, I want to tell you, I did actually make a mistake. So this is not going to work right the first time. I'm going to click process. It's going to say, are you sure you want to do this? I'm going to click OK. And it's going to give me a little bit of a progress here of how many kids we have there. Boom, that was easy, right? 14 kids, super easy there. That's my 14 kids. Now I can come here. So I can come here and I can refresh this and I should see this kid's schedule fill out. Okay, sure you want to do this? Click continue. It didn't quite fill out, right? If I go to another first grade, like I said, this kid, you see how it's got quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4? On John, right, my first grader, something's wrong. It didn't work out there. Well, I'm going to show you how to verify the schedule. So just hold on for just a second here. Don't ask any questions yet. We're going to show you the next step, which is to verify the schedule. Because, you know, if you're putting all these courses in, you're probably going to make a few mistakes. Well, let me show you how to find those mistakes first. Come in here. All right, verifying the schedule. After you've created courses, bulk load them with students, hand schedule the students with special circumstances, and schedule students into classes, it's now time to verify that you've done everything correctly and that your students are scheduled properly and to your satisfaction. So again, log in again, my favorite report in the scheduling area, to schedules, course data list, to start reviewing your schedule by looking at the number of students in each class. We'll cover off on everything from sorting, printing, exporting a list of course section information. So step 1, in the course data list report, select the course schedule info, right? So this one's different. We're not doing course number name, we're doing course schedule info. Step 2, select by course number, course name. I would just leave it by course number if I was you. And the same is you can order by ascending or descending. I just leave it as ascending, but if you're fancy, you can sure change it. Step 4, you want to place a check mark in the only include courses with students enrolled checkbox, right? So now we want to see the courses where students are enrolled. In step 5, click the preview button to preview the report for the classes. Step 6, verify the information of the report to ensure everything looks correct. Now, here's my helpful tip. Here's how we verify this. The 2 numbers here in enroll column for each class section represent how many students are scheduled into the class, okay? That's right here, or registered here on the left-hand side, and how many are scheduled into a section. That's one right here. So those 2 numbers, I'm reading right here, should match each other. If they don't match, head back to schedules course, edit course data, enter the course number in the find field, and double check to make sure the term information is correct. So remember I told you I left 2 of them at SEM 1, so I've got an issue. So after you correct any errors, you'll reschedule them in. So I'm going to show you this, and you're going to see, hey, the courses I just entered, 7, 8, 9, they're going to have, I think, 14, a 0 and a 14. I mean, there's 15 kids or 14 kids enrolled and 0 kids in the particular sections there. So, okay, then I'm here to click the print button if you want to print this for later use or print it to a PDF. You sure can do that. So I'm going to come back here. Here's I've scheduled my kids into classes, and I'm going to say, got a problem. It doesn't look the way Paul said it should look. I'm going to come here under schedules, course data list. I'm just going to leave everything here except the course schedule info and click preview. And it's going to say here, look at, I've got here for my classes here, 7 art. It has 2 kids. Oh, it has the 2 kids in there because I put those with my 2 special ed kids. It would typically say 0 is what it would say here. 0 for science and 0 for bowling. So I'd say, okay, I've got a problem. Let me actually go to those 2 kids here and let's just, I don't want you to be confused here. I was showing you too many shortcuts to save yourself time. Here we go. Let's delete this out. Okay. Now you'll see again, I really, really like, there we go. You'll say, oh, what's this? Course number 7, I just put that in. It's got 0 kids and 0, this isn't right. So lots of times what you can do is you can look here and see, is there something like a period isn't chosen? Are the days still selected? I'll sometimes scan this and say, oh, SEM 1, SEM 2, SEM 1, SEM 2. Oh, there's my problem. SEM 1, SEM 1. JMC won't let those kids be scheduled in the classes if there's a problem with those courses. So I'll say, oh, course number 9, I both say SEM 1 there. That's not correct. A year semester class has to have SEM 1 and SEM 2. So that's course number 9. I actually can come here. I'm gonna open this in a new window. Now I'm getting really fancy. I'm gonna say, oh, I forgot what course. Course number 9. Okay, come here, type in course number 9. Come here, oh, yep, SEM 1, SEM 1. I'm gonna click this, edit that, change that to SEM 2, update that. Now I'm gonna come back to my course data list. I'm gonna preview it again. There we go. So now if I come here, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna schedule the kids because now that I've adjusted it, I've got all the kids in the courses. I don't need to go back and put them in the courses. I just need to schedule them again. I'll go to schedules, develop, schedule students. I'm just gonna do my first graders again. Process this, click OK. It's gonna roll through and do that. Now again, there we go, it's complete. Now it's gonna show me again that if I go back to my kid here, my kiddo, I think it was John. There we go. Now John has those there. I'm like, oh, you know what? I made another little mistake. It did schedule them in, but I didn't choose my grading scheme. So I'll come in here to that course. You'll see this is why I really like multiple screens open. Schedules, course, edit course data. That's course number 9, just the one I was on. I must have been chit-chatting too much while I was working on that. There's course number 9. Type that in there. There we go. Go to my grading scheme. Choose quarter, click save. No problem. It's going to warn me. Go back to my kiddo. I can go back and forward or refresh. And now everything's set up just the way we like it. So I made that mistake so I could show you that the way you can find those mistakes is the course data list. And then you can come in and edit that course. Now, if I click preview, they should, if I set up all the courses correctly, have matching courses for course number 7, 8, 9. Let's check and see. There we go. All of them, because all the kids have been put in there. So all of them have matching course numbers. 13 kids enrolled, 13 kids in sections. So if I come in and I'm working with a school, brand new school, I like to run this report and see all matching numbers. If I have all matching numbers, it means I'm good to go. So that was a lot of information there. So what I want to just review is I came in to this last item here to schedules, develop, and I went in here and I scheduled the students. If everything's right, you'll schedule them, you'll run your course data list, these numbers will match. If you made a mistake, you'll run you'll schedule them, you'll come here to your course data list, and these numbers will say typically 012, 013, 022, whatever it is. There'll be a 0 in the left-hand column. You'll say, oh, Paul and Jake said this was going to happen. I need to look and see if there's anything wrong. The things that are typically wrong is it either says SEM 1, SEM 1, or you haven't unchecked the days and it won't put them in multiple courses on the same period in the same day. Adjust those, reschedule your kids into classes, and then run your course data list again. All right. I'll see if there's any questions. I will tell you as well that take it one stage at a time. Right, that's it. So step 1, get all your courses in. And if you wanted to, you could run a course data list before you even schedule bulk load the kids. You could run it and say, hey, I want to just scan through this and make sure I've got all the days unchecked. I've got all the terms, SEM 1 and SEM 2, totally up to you. But use those tools, become friendly with them. They are there to help you. So put your courses in, step 1. Step 2, bulk load your kids into courses. Step 3, hand schedule kids if you need to. Step 4, schedule students into sections. Step 5, verify that registration, and then go make any edits if you need to. So any questions there, Jake?
You were so thorough in your explanation that everybody has this down pat.
Can you tell I've done this a few times? The thing I like about this is it's not hard, right? And you just got to trust the process, put your courses in, and then roll with it, and you're good to go. So, all right, upcoming webinar schedule. Next week, all about the health module. 7/28, starting the school year checklist with Jake Van Scoy is going to talk you through all the things, some of the things you need to do to start the school year. But really, it's emphasizing how important the starting the school year checklist is to make sure you've done everything to start the school year correctly. 8/4, all about absences and tardies. We're going to review the period attendance module. Love JMC? Interested in a part-time gig? We are hiring for our client services program. Contact Brett Joyce if interested at brett.joyce@jmcinc.com. And Jake, you actually were a client service specialist before you joined JMC full-time. Is that right?
Yes, I was. I was an instructional coach, and I worked for about 2 years as a client services specialist.
Yep. So it's a part-time job. It's, I don't know, 20 hours a month or so. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Where you reach out to schools in your area and just supporting them, helping them along. So great. Did a question come in, Jake, or is that just a little note at the end there?
Yeah, it looks like a question has come in. Judy asked, where do you find videos?
Oh, that's a great question. That's my favorite question, Judy. What you do is you come out here to YouTube and you can actually just come in here, and this is my YouTube training channel, but what you can do is you type in at YouTube, JMC training, and you're going to see this thing that says JMC training. Click on that. What I like to see people do is it's going to bring up this kind of older video that I did on a program overview. Click the videos right here. If you click the videos, it's going to show you all the most recent videos we've done with the weekly webinars. Playlists are also really helpful. Like I've got one here on the summer online family registration and regional workshops. But come to the videos and you can search here. You're like, oh, I want to learn about the message center. Come here, this little search item here, message. And if I type in here, I'll scroll. One thing that's interesting about YouTube, it doesn't put the most recent one at the top. I'm not sure why that is, but I look, we now date our items here. So 6/23/21, heck, that was 3 weeks ago. Watch that video, learn all about JMC.
I would also encourage you to subscribe to the JMC training channel. So as soon as we populate a new video, you'll get a notification that says, hey, JMC just populated a new training video. And if that's something that you're interested in, you'll be able to check it out.
That's when you tell your loved ones, ooh, kids, guess what we're doing Saturday night? We're going to go to the motocross down the road, but JMC's got a brand new presentation on starting the school year checklist. Folks, be social with us. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and our blog. We really appreciate your time. We know that your time is valuable. And we do believe that the 40 minutes that you watched this video for will save you hours and hours of work throughout the school year scheduling your students. So thanks, everybody, and have a great day.